Well, Facebook has received a scathing report from a former employee. We're joined by our expert, Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of Sunshine Coast for more on this. Karen, it's lovely to see you as always.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good, Karen. Now, a whistleblower from Facebook has given a very critical evaluation. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, I mean, this a couple of weeks ago we discussed that Wall Street Journal article, which covered the Facebook files, and this is just a continuation of that. So, basically, what the whistleblower has said is like that they were an employee of Facebook. They've come out with actual evidence and internal research reports from the organisation stating that they knew exactly the damage that they have been causing in terms of violent content and to teenage girls on Instagram. And they really haven't done much to fix it, even though in one of the reports it says that they have the best tools available to actually make a difference and make changes. So they've wound back sort of the violent content just a smidge, if that's a technical term there, but really not. They're not doing what they could because they don't damage their potential for profits. So yeah, so that's essentially the story in a nutshell.
Well, Facebook executives have actually come out trying to essentially undermine the credibility of this whistleblower. Is that the right response? Is that the right defence?
Well, look, who knows? I think I mean I guess it's we really need to critique these reports to check, but there's a lot of evidence there, and this person has worked at multiple digital businesses and places like Google there and Pinterest. They're widely respected in the field, so it's not like it's some random person. They're well known in the industry, and it must have taken a lot for them to actually come out, and they've gathered this information over time. So as well, I think no, it probably isn't the right way to just go for the attack straight away. I think there needs to be a better, more constructed response to what's going on. And the whole outage seemed quite suspicious. Like, who knows what happened? They came up with a technical reason why that happened, but it seemed to be a coincidence that this sort of happened almost in line with this 60-minute interview where the whistleblower appeared sharing this information. So I've looked online, and there's been some conspiracy theories. No one knows for sure, but to say that maybe they shut everything down so they could clean up some of their internal documents and processes to ensure that when this hearing happens and the investigation may happen through Congress, that everything is sort of cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that point that you've made there about that whistleblower coming out. That would have taken so much courage. She's put her face, her reputation on the line to stand up there against one of the biggest tech companies in the world and go against them. That would take an incredible amount of courage. And so it does go to question Facebook's immediate response to that, coming to the defence and instantly just making her seem like she wasn't credible. I don't know if that was the right response there. So interesting times to see how that one plays out. And in regards to the outage, yes, as well. But does this just go to show that potentially us as a society, we are once again reminded how reliant we are on big tech as individuals, but also as businesses as well?
Oh, absolutely. And we saw this earlier in the year. If you remember the Facebook Australian news ban that lasted a week. I mean, Ticker, you would have been severely impacted by that, and a lot of organisations were. Just how reliant we are on particularly social media to reach our prospective customers and clients and our communities. So yeah, we really are. So we have to remember that the platforms own our information, and they own the technology. We don't actually own it. We just get to use it. So just remembering that, particularly as a business, that it's much more important to actually own things like an email list and those sorts of sort of interactions with customers, and the ability to interact with customers in that way, rather than being beholden with all of your eggs in one basket to social media platforms.
Yeah, and a lot of people have come out with all of this, I guess, Facebook scrutiny at the moment, saying that Facebook is essentially putting profit before the mental health of its users, right? But then in comparison to that, ironically, it is actually Cyber Awareness Month, and TikTok, in comparison, has come out and they are actually doing a Be Smart Cyber campaign. That is very contrasting to what's all happening at Facebook on the flip side.
Absolutely, and look, TikTok isn't 100% innocent either. Let's say that even Facebook has its good points. It does do a lot of good, but it's also clearly doing a lot of damage as well. Same with TikTok, but yes, TikTok is trying to educate its users, particularly younger users, around things like privacy, the security of your passwords, those sorts of issues, just to make sure that people are using the platform as safely as is possible. And I think sometimes younger users need to actually be educated in these things. And I think sometimes even older users can become a bit blasé in particular things around passwords and the information they're sharing online. So it's just a good reminder to, for people to realize that once it's on the internet, it's there forever, and you just don't want to share too much information.
Yeah, and I guess with the Facebook outage yesterday that we saw on Instagram, one of the biggest things that I thought of was, what about those influencers? We saw the rise of influencers all the way through, potentially the last 5 to 10 years. There's been an influx in influencers. Their whole life, whole career, financial means depends on social media. How devastating would that be, say, worst case scenario, if Facebook or Instagram went down permanently or got hacked or something like that? That's their whole financial means gone.
Exactly. And so it's so important, if you are a creator, you need to diversify. You can't just put all of your efforts into one platform that can be taken away in a second. It's really important to start building up an audience in other places, on using blogs or websites, or email lists, or a whole range of digital tools, rather than just focusing on one platform. Because, yeah, exactly. And I think we saw this with, I think it was Vine, a few years ago, where some people were, they were huge influencers on there, and then they ended it. So, you've got to be so careful, and you've got to think longer term about building audiences on multiple platforms.
Yeah, indeed. Karen, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll catch up with you next week.
Excellent. Thank you.